These 7 simple rules are all that it takes to get in shape. Now, this does not mean that getting in shape is an overnight thing. It does not happen instantly. Everybody is starting out in a very different starting point, just based on, for example, how long you have been inactive or sedentary, what your genetics look like, what your injury history looks like, and so on. So everybody is going to have a very different experience on their path to getting in shape. However, these are the common rules that everybody needs to follow in order to ensure that you're actually making progress. This is what we would call the 80-20 of fitness. This is the most important stuff that is going to give you most of your results. Everything else still matters, of course, but it is going to impact a much smaller percentage of your overall results. Before we get started, don't hesitate to smash that like button, help level up the channel, help bless Himbos everywhere with bountiful gains. My name is Adam. I have been lifting for over 15 years and coaching for over 10 of those, so I know a few things. I know what I am talking about. As always, I'm also generally taking on new online fitness coaching clients, so if you are interested, don't hesitate to reach out via the link below and I will be in touch with you. So, rule number 1 is eat more fiber. Most people are not eating their fruits and veggies. Most people are not eating enough fiber. This is a pretty common case. Eat your dang veggies. Most people know about this rule, they just don't want to stick to it. And it can definitely be difficult, especially if you're somebody who has the kind of lifestyle where you're not able to as easily control the meals you eat or decide in advance what kinds of foods you're going to be eating. However, looking for those healthy options, looking for ways to get in salads and other sources of fiber and so on is going to have a huge impact just in terms of keeping you healthy in the long run. Fiber is also great because it tends to keep you more full while having very few calories, of course. And so the end result is that it is really, really great at sort of helping you to manage your hunger levels. Rule number 2 is to minimize junk foods and alcohol. Again, this is something that most people know about, but most people are not great at sticking to. And so, of course, me saying again, hey, you shouldn't be eating all that junk food is not necessarily new information and is probably not necessarily helpful information for most people. But working out strategies for coping with those kinds of behaviors, working out ways to figure out, okay, why did I eat this junk food? What could I do differently next time? And so on is definitely a way that you can help try to tease out those behaviors and make positive changes in your lifestyle. Now, I would like to emphasize that this does not mean that these foods are inherently bad or that you should cut them out of your life entirely. Having some junk food is always a good thing. Having a little bit of leeway in your diet is always a lot more psychologically healthy than trying to punish yourself and developing a very disordered approach to your eating. So, I'd like to emphasize, it is always a good idea to have some sweets, some junk food, have a drink here or there, but just make sure that it's not taking over too large of a percentage of your overall diet. Rule number 3, protein. Most people are not eating enough protein. This is also one that you've probably heard a lot. Now, what you've also probably heard is that you have to eat a crap ton of protein. You might have heard numbers like 1 gram per pound of body weight, 2 grams per pound of body weight, really absurd numbers in order to be healthy. The reality is that for most people, it's really going to top out somewhere more around 0.82 grams per pound of body weight per day, which is about 80 grams for a 100-pound person, 160 grams for a 200-pound person, or 240 grams for a 300-pound person. So these numbers are still high. They are probably higher than what you're used to, but they are not incredibly high. They typically are going to account for about 30% of your overall calories from protein, and so long as you are getting in some lean protein sources, they can be pretty easy to hit. Now again, this does mean probably a pretty significant change to your diet, especially if you're not eating a lot of protein sources elsewhere, you're not already eating a lot of lean proteins, and so it can be helpful to supplement with things like a protein shake, which are basically mostly protein and not much else. So that makes it easy at the end of the day to say, oh, you know what, I am X number of grams of protein short, I can have this quick shake and so on. However, that doesn't mean that you should get all of your protein from protein shakes. That is miserable. I have done it. It sucks. Protein shakes taste a lot better than they used to. Don't taste great. So do not try and do it all with protein shakes. It's definitely good to seek out other high protein, lean protein sources in your diet so that you don't have to rely too much on those protein shakes at the end of the day. Rule number 4, lift weights, heavy weights, once or twice a week. Now you might say to me, hey, my trainer says I need to be training 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 6 times a week in order to be seeing serious results. Well, yes, if you want to see serious results, that is true, but the reality is that even just once or twice a week has really incredible results relative to 0 times a week. So if you have not been training before and you are training just once or twice a week, this is often more than sufficient to induce a significant amount of muscle and strength gain, to really make you a lot more athletic, and also to maintain that in the long run. They have done studies where they give people incredibly short workouts, just a half hour long, once or twice a week. Follow up 10 years later, these people are still way, way healthier than people who do nothing. And of course, pretty close to the people who train harder. There are diminishing returns to any kind of training. So of course, training 4, 5, 6 days a week, yes, you're going to get greater results out of it. And that may be helpful if you are, training for a specific athletic goal, if you are really impatient about your results and kind of want to get results faster and so on. But that doesn't mean that you should see those things as a necessity. Just once or twice a week is the necessity. If you can do once or twice a week, you are golden. You are doing great. You're doing amazing. You're doing better than probably 50% of the population who don't lift weights consistently at all. So you are basically putting yourself in the elite class of people who are much healthier just by lifting weights a couple times a week. And it doesn't have to, again, be a very long workout. It could just be a half hour long, hit some major muscle groups, go home, move on with your life, have fun, don't obsess over it. Really, really awesome for people who are very busy, have a lot of stuff going on in their lives, and don't want to spend all the time in the gym, in the world. Don't listen to people who insist that you absolutely need to train much harder or much more frequently in order to see any results at all. That's not true. Rule number 5. Well, this is just rule number 4, but with cardio. Get some significant cardio effort at least once or twice a week. Exact same thing as above, just with cardio swapped in. Cardio and lifting have unique and separate health benefits, and so you can't just get one from doing the other and so on. You do need a good mix of both. Now, it's also possible that you maybe don't train super hardcore with your cardio, but you do it lower intensity and you do it more frequently. So you very commonly see things like, get in your 10,000 steps a day. And yes, that could just be a bunch of walking, and that's lower intensity, but if you're doing it more days per week, then it's going to even out. Of course, bang for your buck, time invested, you probably just want to do 1 or 2 runs a week, get it over with, get it done with. Again, 20, 30 minutes, go home, enjoy your life, move on. I prefer walking myself because I find it's a lot easier to combine walking with other activities, like messing around on my phone, or sending emails, or using my under-desk treadmill, and then doing some work at my computer. So I just tend to prefer walking because that really works well for me. But if I did not have this awesome setup that I do, I would probably just go for a run a couple times a week, and that is what I used to do for a long period of time. Rule number 6. High quality sleep. High quality sleep is going to extend your lifespan significantly. Good sleep is associated with basically being leaner, being stronger, being in better shape, and also being more resilient to disease and injury, recovering faster, and so on. If your sleep is crap, your training is going to be crap, your health is going to be crap. Just try and get in as much sleep as you can. Ensure that you are getting enough sleep so that you don't feel fatigued throughout the day. Of course, everybody is going to need a slightly different amount of sleep depending on your age, just depending on who you are. Genetically, some people just need a bit more sleep than others. That's pretty normal. It also just means some basic sleep hygiene things like not drinking a ton of caffeine late at night, limiting your blue light exposure too late at night, and keeping that phone down and not keeping you up, and so on. Just be sure that you're following those basic procedures so you can ensure that you're having good quality sleep, and that means you're getting the most out of the time that you are spending totally zonked out. And of course, rule number 7, manage your stress and mental health. I cannot emphasize enough, stress is absolutely a really damaging thing. Really, you don't like to think of your mental health as influencing your physical health too much, but it really does. Managing your stress, managing your mental health issues goes a long way towards ensuring that you are going to be happy, healthy in the long run. And that can include things like maybe having a regular meditation practice, maybe going to therapy, finding some kind of method or some kind of practice that you like to do that is going to help you to establish that good work-life balance, make you feel good, and so on in the long run. Now again, that covers the 7 most important things. What are all the other less important things? Well, maybe get in a multivitamin, maybe go ahead and get some sun so you can get your vitamin D in, or supplement with some vitamin D if you live in a country where, for example, the sun does not come out for a large percentage of the winter, the UK here. It's also great if you live in a country with socialized medicine. I cannot emphasize enough, you cannot out-exercise getting hit by a car. There is no amount of exercising or healthy diet that is going to save you from getting hit with an overwhelming medical bill that you cannot pay if you live in a country where that is a normal thing to do to people. Have hobbies, have community, have things that you connect to in your life that give you meaning and purpose and enable you to have some kind of sense of community and connect with others. These things, again, are going to have a pretty positive effect in the long run in terms of just keeping you alive, keeping you happy, keeping you healthy, and so on. All of this is, of course, both a lot simpler and a lot more complex than it sounds. The problem very often is not that you need to know these things. The problem is very often that the difference between knowing these things and doing these things on a regular basis is really tough. And of course, that is something where a coach can help you out. That is something where having a social support network can help you out. But it is something where it is highly individualized, and I cannot tell you what your situation is. I can't tell you, exactly how you're going to solve it for yourself. However, I will say that, for example, for me, I just ended up getting really, really obsessed with self-improvement and working out a long time ago. And as a result, I can't turn back now. It's too late. I've invested too much effort into being a himbo to turn around now. So I've sunk cost fallacy my way into being healthy for as long as possible. It is what it is. So that is all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, don't hesitate to comment below. Let me know if there's anything you would like to see in future videos. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and so on. Share this video with all your weird little friends, and I will see all of you weirdos next week. Have a good one.